We are talking trade rumors today. There's a few that are realistic, and there are some that are just not. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, trade rumors. The offseason will be starting relatively soon. We are sitting right now at the 22nd of February next week. It'll be March 1st. Like I said, on the 13th and the 14th, tampering. 15th is the start of free agency. And I think as of right now, franchise tags can be applied. There's nobody that the Miami Dolphins are going to franchise tag. Nobody. Not one. No. Yeah, no. In all honesty, I don't think there's a person that the Dolphins will franchise tag. Maybe I will make a franchise tag video and kind of try to predict who will be getting franchise tagged in the NFL. But, like, that's a hard one for me to do. Like, even off the top of my dome right now, it's like maybe Lamar. I don't think Daniel Jones will. I don't really think Saquon will. I'm just trying to run through... Yeah, I don't know. But we're going to be talking about trade rumors. We're going to be talking about some guys that the Dolphins potentially could trade away and some guys that the Dolphins potentially could trade for. If I miss any, comment them below. I'm very interested to see if you guys have found anything. But we're going to jump right into this, and we're going to start with one that was brought up to me, and I was very intrigued by it, and I don't hate it. Especially because this guy is around the age of 28. Now, I was surprised by this. I'm just going to pop it up, and you'll see who I'm talking about. Let me scoot, because it's going to take up half the screen, because it's a lot to talk about. Fam! Jalen Ramsey. Now, this is from PFF, Offseason Trades. They try to predict that they have Jalen Ramsey going to the Dolphins. Trade compensation, the Rams would send over a 2023 fifth, which the Dolphins don't have right now. They have a 1, 2, 2 threes, a 6, and a 7. So we get a fifth, and we would send them our second and our 2 seconds. Our second this year and a second next year, meaning we would only have 2 threes, a fifth, a 6, and a 7th this year. No second round pick. And the contract required is 3 years, $55 million, $12.5 million totally guaranteed, which I think is very interesting. We will look at Jalen Ramsey's contract to see if it's worth it. But they say the Dolphins have been among the most aggressive teams in the NFL over the past few offseasons, notably trading first-round pick for Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb. So I stopped there. Despite the Dolphins already dealing with a handful of big contracts, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa will be on his 4th-year deal of his rookie contract in 2023. Miami can clear a ton of cap space with a few obvious restructurings and cuts. Like I said, right now we're sitting at about $16 million. We can get to about $50 million. An overall cut that would likely be a precursor to the move is the Dolphins moving on from Byron Jones, which would save us $13.6 million, who missed the entire 2022 campaign and who's released if destined post your first. Yeah, I just said that. Ramsey played college at Florida State, Florida. Began his NFL career with the Jaguars, Florida. So he continues his football journey back to Florida with new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Fangio's zone-heavy scheme has already proven to be a great fit for Ramsey, with Fangio disciple Brandon Staley coaching Ramsey with the LA Rams in 2020. Fangio could deploy Ramsey as the star in the defense, with Xavier Howard staying out wide. That would allow the Dolphins to get most out of Ramsey in the slot, down in the box, and really all over the formation. Ramsey, cumulative 90.6 coverage grade over the past 3 seasons, ranks second among corners, and his 91.2 run defense ranks first. His 80.3 coverage grade for the slot over the past 3 years is 5th. There's a lot of elite young corners in the league right now, but Ramsey still holds the crown as the best defensive back in the NFL as of today. Newly inducted Hall of Fame corner Darrelle Revis was traded to Tampa for a first and conditional 4th, entering his 28th season, age 28 season, where he then signed what was effectively a 1-year deal for $16 million. Here, Ramsey is traded for 2 seconds, picks entering his 29th season. Age 29 season, 3.5 years after the Ramsey acquired for the 2 firsts. See, I don't know if I would do two twos, but this intrigues me. This one, when I saw this one, it really intrigued me. So if they do trade him, 2023, he is due 25 million, then 26 million, then 22 million. So they would definitely restructure that contract with Jalen Ramsey. And if the Rams did move on from him, they would save about 5 million post June 1st, 17 million. So that might be another situation where the Dolphins would move on from Byron post June, get the 13.6, and then the Rams would probably trade Jalen post June and save 17 million. When I saw this, I was like, I don't hate it. Now, it's a lot of money. You want to restructure his contract. He is getting up there in age, so it's probably like a 2-year contract, maybe with a third-year option. But I don't hate it. It's kind of like a better replacement for Byron. Jalen Ramsey still has something in the tank, and it would be a huge upgrade over Byron. And then we'd have a ton of flexibility and ton of options. And again, like they were saying in PFF, Vic Fangio's offense, you need that, continuity, that fluidity with that secondary. So I wouldn't hate that move. Giving up the 2-2s does bother me. I don't know if I would do that much, especially since he has a big old fat contract. We'd have to rework that. So I don't think they would give up 2-2s for that. I wouldn't mind 2 3s, a 3 this year, 3 next year. But I don't know if I'm doing 2 2s on that one. But yeah, that one. Interesting to me. The next one. And this one... I'll just pop it up. Could the Ravens trade Lamar Jackson for Tua Tagovailoa? The internet went mayhem when a report by Mike Sando for The Athletic claimed that one NFL executive thought that a trade between Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins made sense, since Lamar Jackson could fit perfectly in South Beach team's offensive scheme, and Baltimore would still keep a good quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. Mike McDaniel, who would probably would do great with Lamar. Maybe a Lamar for Tua trade makes sense, was reported by Sando. This one is funny. This one is incredibly funny to me. Raven fans probably are like, no, we want to keep Lamar. Some Dolphin fans would probably do a backflip if they could get Lamar. Some Dolphin fans want to rock with Tua, think that he has progressed and just needs to stay healthy. This doesn't make sense to me. Logistically, it doesn't make sense to me for multiple reasons. One, first off, the Ravens are trying to do their hardest to keep Lamar. They've offered him contract on top of contract, and he's denied them all. So it seems like Lamar wants out. Even with like the way the season ended, he kind of seemed like he was done with the team. But it seems like Baltimore's not done with him. So Baltimore's going to want like multiple firsts. They're going to want a lot for Lamar. And then Lamar's going to want to get paid. He's going to want to get paid big. Like Deshaun Watson big. Like he's going to want a big fat contract. And looking at the situation the Dolphins are in right now, unless they did something where like they traded 2 firsts but not this year, which the Ravens would be like, why would we want that? Again, so that's why it doesn't make sense. And then they did a contract where the cap hit this year for Lamar wasn't bad, but then it got progressively bigger as the year. It just logistically doesn't make sense. But again, I'm not a GM. I'm not an accountant. I am not, privy to any of that stuff. But from an outside source, this trade just doesn't make sense in that aspect of they want multiple firsts and they want a first now. Dolphins don't have a first now. So what do you compensate with that with? Okay, well, we'll send Tua over to them. And again, it's funny. Tua and him missed the same exact amount of games, the past 2 years. They both have been injury prone the past 2 years. So it's like, okay, you send them over, and then it doesn't make sense to me. Comment below. Let me know if this makes sense to you. And take your bias hat off. If you're a huge Tua fan and you don't want to see Tua to go to Miami, take it off. And if you hate Tua and you want to see Lamar come here, take it off. And just look at it on an outside source. Does this logistically make sense to you? Because to me, it doesn't make any sense to me. Lamar for Tua trade, and then multiple firsts, and then the contract that Lamar would want, and then for a fact Tua would ball out, and then all of a sudden Lamar would keep getting hurt, and then we'd lose that trade, and then you just know that's our luck. So that's the other one. Then we have Cedric Wilson Jr. $6 million savings if the Dolphins trade him. The the Dolphins made moves, right? The Dolphins franchise tagged Mike Gesicki, and the Dolphins signed Cedric Wilson Jr. before they acquired Tyreek Hill. So they were heading in one direction in that offseason, and then Tyreek became available, and they went that way and the other direction. So it kind of threw a monkey wrench in those plans. So Cedric Wilson Jr. is a viable option to be traded. Again, saving about $16 million, send him to a wide receiver needy team, whether it's send him back to Dallas, whether it's send him to the Giants, whether it's send him to the Chargers. There's talks of them moving on from Keenan Allen. Send him to a wide receiver needy team. And for me, I would be happy with a fourth, right? I think if we can get a fourth for him, his contract, he has like 1 year left on it, I would be happy. Like I said, the Dolphins right now own 1, 2, 2 threes, a 6, and a 7. So be able to get a fourth in there, give us more ability to draft in the middle of the draft, make me happy. So, I honestly would be shocked if they don't trade Cedric Wilson, if not for another player for a 4th or a 5th round pick. Another name. This one, I've been thinking more and more about it, because Vic Fangio, and does he fit the Vic Fangio scheme? And that's Jerome Baker. Now, I'm a big Jerome Baker fan. I like Jerome. I like Xavier Howard. But at some point, you got to take a step back and you got to look at things objectively, right? Like Xavier Howard, I'm a huge Xavier Howard fan. Go back and watch me defend this man throughout the 5 years I've been doing this YouTube channel. Go back and defend. But at some point, you got to take a step back and you got to look at things. And Jerome Baker, I don't know if he fits this defensive scheme. Now, if the Dolphins trade him, it's about a $4 million savings. Again, another situation where I'm okay with a fourth, maybe a third, depending on how the team that they trade him to, sees Jerome Baker. His cap hit's about $12 million this year, so it's up there. He has 2 years left on his contract. So again, I'd be all right with a fourth. Like if you can get 2 fourths and you're trading Cedric Wilson and Jerome Baker to teams, then all of a sudden you're sitting there with 2 threes, 2 4s, a 6 and a 7. You can make some moves on that second day, on that third day. But to me, it seems like Jerome Baker might be the odd man out, especially when it comes to the linebacking core because of the style that Vic Fangio runs. But again, he talked about predicating it towards players, so he might see what Jerome Baker can do and be like, I can make it work and do this. So we'll see about that. And then the final one I got in here is Byron Jones. The Dolphins can cut him again post June 1st and get a $13.6 million savings. They could trade him post June 1st and get a $13.6 million savings. But if they don't feel like waiting, they could trade him pre-June 1st, and it's only a $3.5 million savings, so it makes sense to wait till after June 1st to get the big savings. And it just, some people have talked about Byron might all of a sudden want to stay because we got Vic Fangio. Byron might have held out. Some people say he was injured and there were setbacks, but it wasn't an Achilles surgery. It was a cleanup. There's so many articles where they talked about him being back in 2 months for the beginning of training camp, and then it was nagging and it just, things weren't adding up because it wasn't a torn Achilles. It was a cleanup surgery. So why all of a sudden is he dragging his feet? And then I'm hearing, he wants to come back 100%. Then I'm hearing other things, and now all of a sudden, if he wants to come back because we got Vic Fangio and he's going to change his tune, then if you lost the locker room, you lost the locker room. So to me, I'm personally like, if we could get Jalen Ramsey and trade Byron Jones, I'm doing that. Like if we can, okay, hey, instead of 2 2s, we'll send you Byron. Rams, you send us Jalen, we'll send you Byron. You send us a 5th, we'll send you 2 3s. Do a trade like that. I'd prefer that because, it kind of soured me, kind of reminded me of the Will Fuller situation, even though Will Fuller really messed his finger up, whereas we have no clarity on Byron's situation. But those are some of the trades that some of them I came up with: Cedric Wilson, Jerome Baker, Byron Jones, and others are out there, like the Jalen Ramsey, Lamar Jackson trade. Comment below. If I missed any that you could think of, let me know. I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. What do you think about the trades that I've read and some that I've offered? Comment below. Let me know. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. But like usual, stay classy. My friends out.